A man goes into a shoe store, and he goes with a cobbler, a shoemaker, and he needs to have his shoes repaired. He's got something wrong with his shoes. So as the cobbler began to work, and the man's waiting for his shoes, and they started a conversation discussing the state of the world in general and their own lives in particular. Well, when they touched on the subject of God and spirituality, the cobbler said, I don't believe in all that nonsense about spirituality. I don't believe in a soul. I don't believe in an omniscient creator. And the cobbler very proudly shows it. He's an atheist, very proud of that. So the customer said, innocently, said, why do you say that? Well, cobbler says, indignantly, he says, go out in the street and see for yourself. No rosy world of spirituality could possibly exist. Tell me, if humans have a soul that come from this perfect creator, like you want to tell me, and this creator is good and kind, as you want to tell me, then why do people kill each other? And why do people throw bombs at each other? And why is there so much crime? And why is there so much anger in the world? And if a divine creator really existed, would there be so many sick people? What about that? And would there be abandoned children? And there would be nothing, but would there be suffering and pain if you have this divine, benign creator? You say really sarcastically, okay? So he says, I can't imagine how a divine creator would permit all these things. Well, the customer thought for a moment, but he didn't respond because some people, it's not worth to argue with. And if he argued with the cobbler might not do a good, practically might not repair his shoes well, okay? So the customer was quiet, and the cobbler finished repairing the customer's shoes. So the customer paid him, thanked him, and left the shop. Well, just in front of the sidewalk, out on the sidewalk, like you see especially in Los Angeles, these down and outers, and you see this in the Barry in New York, down and outers with the homeless and with dirty hair and unkept beard, and he had this patched and ragged clothes and torn shoes. The customer immediately made him about face, and he came back and we entered the cobbler shop. And he says to the cobbler shop, he says, you know what? I don't believe in cobblers. They don't exist. So the cobbler says, how can you say that? I'm right here. I'm a cobbler. I'm a shoemaker. I just now repaired your shoes. How can you say they don't exist? He said, no, the customer said, cobblers don't exist. But you know why? Because if cobblers did exist, there wouldn't be people with torn shoes like that guy right out the door. The cobbler says, wrong. Cobblers do exist. People have torn souls because they don't come to me. Said the customer, that's exactly the point. The creator, he exists too. And humans have a divine soul that's a perfectly tiny part of the creator himself. And if all the anger, crime, and violence, sickness in the world, you know where they come from? They come from torn souls. And their souls are torn when they don't come to him either.